Alright, here we go with round 2 of Friday Night Magic. Again, this is a standard event, as it will say in our comments section right below. I'm Vince Naimon, with me is...
Emmy, Crowe.
This match should be interesting. We have an America control deck that's perhaps a little bit off-kilter. He's running a couple of cards, which I'm sure we're going to see. I saw them in my circuit trying to find you some interesting decks here. And he's playing against a Naya deck that's a little more mid-rangey than I'd expect to see from a Naya deck. He is still running a bunch of 1-drops, but he's also running a lot of blink effects, Restoration Angel. I think I saw an Angel Serenity in there. So we should see some interesting cards, some interesting interactions here. On the left-hand side of your screen, we have Christopher Hill. He's playing the Naya deck. On the right-hand side is Alex, I believe it's pronounced Kuen, playing the America Control.
So far it's just land go for both of them.
One thing I did notice about Alex's play as I was walking around is that he's very conservative. He's not going to play a spell unless he absolutely has to. He was sitting at turn 7 or 8 on game 3 with 7 cards in his hand. He just had lands on the board. That's all he was doing. No cards in the graveyard. Down to 2 life, not playing any spells. See if he does that again here.
I can see doing that game 1, like being super conservative, because you don't want to necessarily give away what you're playing. But game 3, that seems a little too safe.
To be fair, his opponent was also playing a fairly non-standard deck. It was a Golgari Flash Scavenge deck.
So maybe he was just like, what?
What am I playing again?
Have?
Yeah, 4 Ambush Vipers, ton of Scavenge cards, lots of Death Touch.
So fun, and not junk right.
Yeah, exactly.
Looks like so far we've got a Luxon and Smiter on board.
I think I see a Kessig Wolf Run in his hand, next to a Thragtusk. There's a Clifftop Retreat. Attacks for 4. So they've got a couple of shocks on the left. Is that 16 life?
Yeah.
So it's probably 14 on the right. 1 shock? No. There's no reason he should have had to shock himself. Azorius Charm. Cantrips, draws a card. See a Selesnya Charm on top of his hand.
He's just fingering it. He's waiting. He's got a Thragtusk underneath it, too. There it is.
That's going to get a 2/2 Knight with Vigilance. Not bad for instant speed. The Knight deck is also playing a couple of the Advent of the Worm. So we could see some end of the turn 5/5 Tramplers.
Such a good card.
War Leader's Helix on the Loxodon Smiter. And going to gain him 4 life, putting him back up to, I believe, 20. And taking 2 from the Knight. Back to 18. A little late for the Mana Dorks, but sometimes you just gotta play cards. Personally, I would have expected to see that Thragtusk come down, though. He is at 5 mana.
I was waiting for it, and then it was Mana Dork, so... I think he's probably just trying to play around the American Control deck.
I suppose. If he knows it's an American Control deck, he knows he's probably up against Syncopate, Dissipate. Although, to be fair, that extra mana is not going to do anything for Thragtusk against the Dissipate. We have Assemble the Legion. coming down on the American control deck. This is one of those cards that I said, it's a little bit off-kilter.
That's weird. I like it, but it's weird.
It's going to be really hard for this Naya player to deal with.
To get around it, yeah.
Because I don't think he's running any main deck enchantment removal. I think he's just going to have to try to beat through it.
I think he's a little bit confused right now. He's like, I'm going to play.
6 mana.
There we go.
Rurik Thar? Is that what that is? Rurik Thar the Unvowed?
Looks like it.
Well, it's definitely an interesting way of playing around it. That is actually going to cripple the America control deck just a little bit, because he's playing a lot of direct damage, a lot of things that are going to try to kill creatures, a lot of things that have to target creatures, and Rurik Thar doesn't like that. He's running Turn and Burn as well, though, so that's going to turn Rurik Thar into a 0/1 weird, and then probably kill it. He'll just take the damage off of turn.
He's got a Resto Angel in hand, at least. Can't really tell.
That's a Turn and Burn on the end there.
Yeah.
And I think a Syncopate in the middle. It almost looks like a black card, though. I don't know what that. I don't know what that's doing there. Looks like he might be a little stuck on land.
Turn. See what we get on the draw. Land. It's not bad.
Probably see an attack with Rurik Thar and the Knight here. Going to be a block with that soldier. 5 mana at instant speed. Turn and burn. Taking some damage from the target. Yep. Yeah, that soldier's completely expendable. I'm just going to make 2 more next turn. See a Farseek and a Thrag Tusk.
Play the Thrag, you know you want to.
He's going to Farseek first. He's still got 5 mana. Can play the Thrag Tusk next. And he's going to.
There it is.
Before resolving the Farseek?
Guess he didn't feel like...
Did he not resolve the Farseek?
No, he's doing it. I think he just wanted to...
Okay, he's going to do it now. He's just going to...
He was just fast playing his way through it.
It's a good thing this is a Friday Night Magic and not a
Right.
not a terribly competitive event. That would be at the very least a warning. Two soldiers. That is going to become a problem really quickly here. All he has to do is survive a couple more turns, and that Assembled Legion is going to be pumping out 5, 6, 7 more soldiers every turn. It doesn't matter what the Naya player can summon, he's not going to get through it. Unless Kestig will front.
True.
Even that's only going to help for a certain period of time, though. Then after that, he's going to have to draw a creature and a Kestig Wolf run. And
the
get
problem
through
is,
all the
like,
soldiers.
no matter how many you chew through, there's always going to be that much +1. Like, oh.
The Naya deck is playing at least 2 Mizium Mortars. So,
That
if he
would be
assembles
nice.
a large enough army, he can overload Mizium Mortars, kill all the soldiers, and swing for lethal. But he's got to have...
He's got to get there.
He's got to get at least 16 power on board at this point, I think. Mizium Mortars is in his hand.
Gonna use
He's going for it.
That seems a little early to me. I don't know.
He's also probably going to run headlong into a counterspell here.
Yeah.
He has to know he's playing against a control deck. There's going to be some form of control here. There's a Dissipate.
I don't know that I love that play.
No, I think it was too early. The Searing Spear? Pulling the Strike Tusk?
Yeah.
I'd be very surprised if he doesn't double block the Knight just to get rid of it here. Even though that Knight's tapped, it still has Vigilance. Just chumps it, I guess. You know, those soldiers are completely expendable. You can block with 2. You're getting 3 more. Now we're seeing some land from the control player. We know there's a Restoration Angel. Is that an Aurelia, the War Leader? On the far left there?
That would be
Seems
cute.
pretty good with the Assemble the Legion there, as soon as he gets enough tokens in play.
That's an uphill battle for the Naya player right now. Like,
no doubt about it.
not only are you playing against Assemble the Legion, but you're playing against Aurelia and a Resto Angel.
Yep.
Not that he knows it, but you know.
Attacks. You probably want to kill something here if you're the America control player.
Yeah, for Searing Spear.
Searing Spear taking out the bees. Are we going to kill the Knight this time?
Probably not, because he's really consumed.
Yeah,
oh,
okay.
Yay.
Alright, 2 soldiers blocked and kill that Knight. Now we've got 4 power creatures on the board for the America control player and 2 mana dorks for the Naya player with a land in hand. He might be debating whether or not to even play that land or just hold it as a card. Yeah, he's going to hold it.
Think twice?
Then the Legion makes 4 dies this turn.
Show us what you drew!
I think it was another turn and burn.
Oh, I think Aurelia's coming out. He's looking at it at least.
Well, without knowing what's in that other player's hand, I don't know if you actually play it right here. I mean, that could be... Well, what kills an Aurelia in Naya colors? Nisium Mortar's his sorcery speed. So even so, you get 2 attacks with the soldiers.
Think twice.
Did Chris play the land out of his hand, or did he draw another land?
He drew another not a land, and then kept both of them.
Huh.
So.
Okay. A little bit of a bluff here, but I think I'm not sure it's not going to. I'm not sure it's going to do any real good.
If I didn't have Rick's cards here,
Does he just not play the Aurelia here and just win with Assemble the Legion, so he doesn't show his any more cards than necessary to his opponent?
I would, yeah. I mean,
As long as he's not seeing any threats come down.
Yeah.
You just witness what's on the board.
It makes sideboarding so much harder when all you've seen is like, what, a Snapcaster, some counter spells.
Or Aurelia could just come down. He's trying to end it right here.
There we go. Yeah.
2 feet hunters, 2 on 0 to the right, and rest of the plan.
Discussing how much damage is coming down, I would presume.
Now Aurelia doesn't give those tokens haste. So the 4 that came in this turn
Can't find, yeah.
I'm not really sure what they're discussing here. There should be another attack phase, shouldn't there? There it is. Snapcaster comes in too. It's going to take him down to...
Down to scoop. We'll take him down to scoop.
That works.
Makes sense.
I didn't see the American Control player's sideboard. I did see the Naya player's sideboard. It's actually packed with planeswalkers. There was a Johnny, the new one. Is it Caller of the Pride?
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of Primal Hunters. No red planeswalkers though that I saw.
Hissing Needle, that's cute.
There's another Pillar of Flame, at least one in the sideboard for the Naya player.
I don't know you're inside my head right now. Oh, it does.
Well, maybe that wasn't his sideboard I was looking at. Maybe that was actually the main deck that I saw the Planeswalkers. We just didn't see them last game.
Oh, that's your hand. Okay. I was like, why are you exactly where? Like that would have been.
So he's taking out... Is he taking out creatures? Is he taking out the mana drops? Is that what I saw?
I thought, yeah.
I counted 4 times.
Huh. We also didn't see any Hunt Masters or Zertod Druids that last game from the Naya player. Those are in his deck.
That matchup, Eric? I haven't made that card.
Alex looks like he's ready to go here, but Christopher is still deciding what to do. I don't
If you were
think he
Chris,
has...
what would you do against that? I mean, you're playing against Control. Presumably, you just want to race.
Right, which I don't know.
Especially when you know
he
that
just,
he's really
he just showed us an Aurelia of his own there. Sigarda, yep. So he's looking for creatures that Alex can't actively target with his removal spells, which he now knows the deck is packed with. He saw 1 Turn and Burn. He doesn't know it's packed with them, does he? He only saw a Turn and Burn and a Searing Spear. Yeah, because Snapcaster Searing Spear. Okay, so he knows he's playing some removal. Sigarda is still probably a good choice here to come in. Hexproof is a thing. I do believe he left in his own Aurelia. I think that seems like a good decision here. He needs to have Aurelia come down on turn 5 or 6 and just overwhelm the control player before he gets a hold on the game. Aurelia also has the benefit that she flies over those Soldier the tokens if he lands another Assemble the Legion.
Right. I like Assemble the Legion in that deck. I think it's really cute. Like, that's...
Assemble the Legion is one of the reasons that I wanted to see that deck on camera.
It's just so tricky, because if you didn't, like... If you play a Magical Christmas Land, and you assume that he didn't see it first game, and then you play it second game, you're like, what?
Where did that come from?
Did you sign that in? Are you putting your regular land? What is this? And Aurelia too, like same case.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, you didn't see any Boros Reckoners. Instead you saw Assemble the Legion and Aurelia the War Leader.
I think it's especially neat because there's so many decks that are the same.
Mm-hmm. It is kind of refreshing to see something that's a bit of a change of pace. Both players presenting their decks now. Let's see what happens game 2. Are we going to reset those life totals, or are they actually reset? Okay, it just looks like 16 on the left. So in the control player's hand, we see a Sphinx's Revelation, a Syncopate, and not enough lands. 2 Huntmasters, 1 land, 2 land, mulligans for both. Now, for anyone who's going to be watching the other videos from tonight, I do want to warn you there is an awful lot of junk right and junk mid-range here tonight. I probably saw 13 or 14 players playing junk. Like we said in the first match, it's the elephant in the room. Nobody wants to acknowledge it, but it's the biggest presence here.
It's one of those, like, do I want to play or do I want to win that? You know, like, well, we could all play junk rights and then hopefully all win against each other, or I could play a deck that's fully terrible, but unique.
Or you could play something that's not so terrible, but still has a couple of those unique touches. Like this America control deck here, Assemble the Legion. Alright, so in the Naya player's hand we see another land or 2, and either an Aurelia or an Aurelia's Fury. And what looks like a Thragtusk? There's a Restoration Angel in there too. Shock for Loxodon Smiter. I was hoping that wasn't the counterspell.
Right? Like, please don't.
I think his best cards to deal with Loxodon Smiter are Turn and Burn, and he's not at 5 mana yet. At 4 mana he could burn and burn, but a 2-for-1 seems like a gift for the Naya player here. Four damage crashes across. On top of your library, thank you very much.
Well, at least we know what he draws next turn.
At least we know he's not drawing another threat. Land tapped, mana dork. It probably would have been nice to see that mana dork out on turn 1, but he didn't draw it until, you know, just now, I think. I don't see Alex saying anything other than go here.
Yeah.
So we still see a Syncopate and a Restoration Angel in his hand. We don't see that 5th land as far as I saw. Sphinx's Revelation, another Think Twice. So if Christopher tries to play that Thragtusk here, we're probably going to see a Syncopate. For 1, followed by a Think Twice. Or a Think Twice and then a Syncopate. That's just how I would play it.
Yeah.
Oh, but he doesn't have the 2 blue mana. He's only got the 1. So he's just going to flashback Think Twice? I'm not sure why you wouldn't Syncopate that Thragtusk. That's a huge tempo hit. Is he counting on a Searing Spear to come through and save him here? He does have Snapcaster Mages in his hand, but still only 1 blue mana. Yeah.
It's a rough start being facing down a Thragtusk.
He's playing a fair amount of card draw, but he's already used Think Twice twice. And hasn't seen either another blue land or that magical 3 damage red instant, the Searing Spear, to take care of that Thragtusk. I think he's going to need to think twice here. Probably at instant speed during his opponent's turn after the attack, and hope he hits a Searing Spear. More land for the Naya player. And there's a Restoration Angel in his hand, so even if that is a Searing Spear, it's just going to be met with a Restoration Angel blinking the Thragtusk to get a Beast and 5 more life. This seems like a really, really good time for that Naya player, and not so good for the America player. He holds back the Pilgrim, obviously intending to play something with that mana. Don't think too long before thinking twice.
It's 2 very slow things.
I think that Syncopate would have done a lot here. I think that Syncopating that Thragtusk would have been a much better play than letting it go. Snapcaster to block Thragtusk. Now he's realizing he doesn't have the 2nd blue mana. Oh, okay. So he's going to 2-for-1 it, or try to. So before combat damage, he burned the Thragtusk. No, he did it after combat.
Yeah.
It's like 27 life that Chris goes up to. No, he's thinking more 28 life. Sphinx's Revelation, Dissipate, not a Syncopate. That's why he didn't play it. It wasn't a Syncopate, it just looked like one. Snapcaster and a Restoration Angel.
Not gonna be a fun.
The land, it's a land, but not a blue land. So he can't even play that Sphinx's Revelation for 2. He needs double blue for it. He's going to have to flash in the Snapcaster or the Restoration Angel to block one of those this turn. I think he'll probably eat the Beast token and take either 8 or 9, depending on if the Pilgrim attacks. More land. I think that means we might see a pre-combat phase Aurelia here. He knows the control player is stuck without double blue. That's exactly the time you want to play something big like this. 2, 4, 6. This is going to be game, folks. Yep, scoops him up. Okay. So now that the control player has seen Thragtusk and Aurelia the War Leader out of the Naya deck, do you think he boards any differently now? I think he still needs all 4 turn burns.
Yeah.
I know he's playing more than one of that War Leader's Helix, which hits that crucial 4 toughness for Aurelia and the Loxodon Smiter both. So maybe if he has any more of those, he might want to bring those in. But again, we're still going to get the 4 mana and stay there. I didn't see an Acidic Slime, though, out of the Naya player, so maybe we won't see any land destruction shenanigans. I think this is one of those situations where you might want to have a Boros Reckoner over and assemble the Legion. Because I think that Boros Reckoner would have dealt pretty handily with the Thragtusk and the token.
And compensated for the fact that he wasn't getting the blue mana that he needed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think it would have been interesting if he would have drawn the second blue instead of that somehow.
Yeah. It would have been a Glacial Fortress.
Yeah.
Or a Sulphur Falls.
Just to see if that Sphinx's Thread would have got him anywhere. He was still SOL.
I think with the Aurelia, though, he was already dead on board. He needed to have that double blue mana, in time for the Dissipate. Yeah. Although dissipating Aurelia would not have been a bad play either. Hallowed Fountain, Glacial Fortress, that's a good start. And a Sacred Foundry, I think he's probably going to keep that.
I don't think I saw enough land in the I saw the Thragtusk, and I think all the rest of it was
Yeah, keeping a no-land hand for Naya in Standard seems like a bad idea. We don't have Land Grant or Elvish Spirit Guide here. One 2 mana and a Farseek. That's decent enough, right? Oh, 3 lands. Yeah, that's more than good enough, right? As long as he keeps drawing a couple of threats.
That's just land after land.
Right. I think that was an Essence Scatter I just saw.
Yeah.
That could be a dirty trick. It's one of those cards that you just don't see all that often, and I'm not sure why. I don't think there's a deck in the format that doesn't play some kind of powerhouse creature that
needs to be taken care of.
Right, and the best way to do that is to stop it from ever hitting the board. No thank you, I don't want that Angel Serenity anytime soon. So while Christopher is still far-seeking, we've got a Sacred Foundry tapped and another pass back. No surprise from the control player. Leaving the Essence Scatter mana up. Although at 3 mana, he's got the Loxodon Smiter that can't be scattered. I think we might see that here too. Since the other cards in his hand are Restoration Angel and four mana. Could have a War Leader's Helix. He doesn't in his hand right now, does he? I don't think so. Yep, I guess he does. I'm wrong. I'm completely wrong.
JKLL, there it is.
Blink!
Helix is just such a fun addition. I like that card. I like this original iteration. I like this one too.
I find myself often wishing that I had access to Lightning Helix. Just paying 2 additional mana for a 2-point life swing. Yeah.
I think if it would have been 3 though, it would have been like...
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. 3 mana for an 8-point life swing. Of which 4 of that is damage.
Right.
We've got a Wolf Run in play now. Could be trouble. And he's even separating it out. I can Wolf Run for 2 here. 3 if I want to shock myself. Looks like he picked up the Snapcaster. And he definitely has demonstrated his willingness to throw the Snapcasters under the bus, but he doesn't do it here. He takes 3, 7, 9. This time we definitely do see a Syncopate in his hand, right on top there. Looks like a Sphinx's Revelation and back. Not a bad time to be a control player, but he is at, what, 11 lives after that,
He's at 14. We just say he's at 14.
That doesn't seem right. Because Warley's Helix should have been countered on resolution because of the Restoration Angel. Right? That shouldn't have given him any life back. And he took 9 last turn. Should put him at 11.
Yeah. You're wrong, though.
And that's exactly what they're talking about here. No. I do not, in fact, like Huntsmasters being on the board.
Especially when my board is empty. Please. Really don't want another jump back.
Is he going to syncopate the Farseek here? No.
I was going to say, would you bother?
It looked like he was ready to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I totally would if it was all mana dorks and not actual mana on his side, but he's got actual mana.
I would also consider countering a Farseek on turn 2.
Oh, yeah.
With a syncopate for 1, but at this point in the game, I don't think it's worth it. Unless you're looking for a very specific number of mana available.
Right.
And the Naya player's already there. He had 6. He had enough for Aurelia. Anything else now is just going to feed the wolf run. Sinks for 2?
Gotta do something.
He was pretty low on life. I think he's got a... What is that?
As long as we both don't recognize it, that's fine. Oh, okay, he doesn't even know what it is.
You know a card that'd be pretty good right here if you had it? Renounce the Guilds. Each player sacrifices a multicolored permanent. I don't like your Loxodon Smiter.
He was looking at both Resto Angel and the Charm at the same time, so that's what he does. The Wolf Run.
For 4, correct? So 7 coming through from the Angel. I really want to know what that other card was. Oh, we'll find out after the match. Is there any chance that was an Is It Charm? It didn't look like an Is It Charm. It would have been 2 damage, and then 3 damage from the Searing Spear would have killed the Loxodon Smiter, but I don't think that was an Is It Charm.
No, sorry, it isn't for me.
So he played a land tapped, which tells me he's very low on life. Probably, is that 2 his dice is at?
I think so.
So no shocks.
We'll take any damage from you, land. What do you do? I
He's
would
trying
play
to
Sphinxes
figure
right now, even if it's for like a tiny amount, just because you need something.
Well, before playing the land, I think he probably should have Sphinx's Revelation for 1, which takes him to 3.
Right.
Maybe he draws an answer, then he plays the shock, goes to 1. But as he's played it this way, I don't think he can win this. He's at 2 life. He can have a Sphinx's Revelation for 2, gain 2, draw 2 cards, go up to 4, and die to Restoration Angel next turn.
Right. Well, especially when you're facing a Resto with a Wolf Run behind it.
Yep.
If it was just Resto, that's one thing, but...
Here's game.
Good game.
So Christopher Hill will take this, the Naya player, taking it in 3. Alex Kuen will, looks like, go to 1 draw and 1 loss. Hopefully he sticks around. I'd like to see more of that deck.
Yeah, that's a fun one, for sure.
Oh, okay. He was hoping to grab his Detention Sphere. Could have helped him out a little bit. See, I wasn't lying about that Primal Hunter. It's right there.
Yeah.
A lot of Thragtusks, a lot of Mythium Mortars. More than I expected. couple of Hunt Masters. Looks like a Blind Obedience came in out of the sideboard for the Naya player.
I don't know that I guess.
If it makes his Snapcasters and Restoration Angels come in tapped,
Yeah.
there's no blocking tricks there. It also makes whatever he blinked with the Restoration Angel come back in tapped.
Yeah.
I think that's actually a pretty good sideboard here. I wouldn't have probably called that in a Naya deck, but it looks like it could have been a linchpin strategy there. And there's the Angel Serenity that I thought I saw. I'm not making this up, I swear.
I like it. I'm just glad to not see other decks.
Exactly.
I want to know what that card was.
I do too.
I recognize that art at all.
We'll let you know next match. Anything else to say about this one?
No, I think that was just good, clean fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I do too. We'll see you in round 3.